All right, Dr. Bob, our next question that I have for you would be, what do you believe, exegetically speaking, is the unpardonable sin which we find in Matthew 12, Mark 3, and Luke 12? My research on this, because I've had this question asked to me myself many times, and in my research it seems like you find three people and you get five different answers on this. No one seems to really know or understand what the unpardonable sin is, and maybe you could comment on that.
Well, if you ask 5 laymen, you will get 5 different answers. If you ask 5 evangelical New Testament scholars, particularly Reformed ones, you'll get 1 answer. Again, hermeneutics, interpreting the Bible according to the context. In the passage there in Matthew, the Pharisees had just explained away the miracles of Jesus by saying that he was demon-possessed. This is very serious. Very serious. Jesus goes on to say, now look, you can blaspheme God the Father, that can be forgiven you. You can blaspheme God the Son, and that can be forgiven you. But when you attribute the power that wrought this miracle to the power of Satan, you are now blaspheming the Holy Spirit, because it's through him by which I did these things. Remember, Jesus said, I of myself can do what?
Nothing.
Nada. And he was filled with the Holy Spirit, and he did these things. Remember, man a very man, as well as God a very God. As a man, he couldn't do anything. Neither could Adam. Jesus couldn't walk on water any more than we can walk on water as a man. But through the Holy Spirit, he was able to do things. So that he is saying in the passage, someone who attributes the miracles of Christ, that he was demon-possessed, and these miracles were performed, they actually happened, but by the power of Satan. That's the unforgivable sin. Now, it is further, most scholars would say, for those who were eyewitnesses, who actually saw a blind man healed and attributed it to the power of Satan. That next step would say the unforgivable sin is restricted only to the earthly lifetime of Jesus. But that's only half of the scholars. The other half would say it is still possible to commit that today, but under those restraints. 1, you acknowledge that Jesus did these miracles. Number 2, you say that Jesus was demon-possessed. And number 3, that he actually did the miracles, but through the power of Satan. So that restricts it to a very, very, very few people. Now, in order to shake Christians up, because I love humor, people sometimes, you're a silly goose or whatever. Christians need the cobwebs out of their brain. They're so used to the same old, they're quite dull-witted. That is a matter of fact. And again, here in Hebrews, the author of Hebrews, and we won't need to fight about that, said that he wanted to teach many things concerning Melchizedek. He really wished he could do so. Chapter 6, then getting into chapter 7, and he said, but in chapter 5, he's saying, by this time you ought to be teachers. And he makes the complaint, but you are dull of hearing, says the English, the Latin from the Vulgate. imbeciles. Imbecili. You were imbeciles. So I have actually, just to get them quoted, someone says, well, what is the unforgivable sin? Asking, what is the unforgivable sin? And that gets them thinking, you see. But see, people twist that, particularly in the charismatic Pentecostal TBN, Totally Babylonian Network group. They mean that to protect them if you question their so-called healings and miracles. Well, I got news for them. I know Jesus. They ain't Jesus. So I can question any of these so-called charismatic healers that they ain't healing nobody. And that ain't blaspheming the Holy Spirit. It's just talking about some nutcase making money off the gullible and the naive. So no, it's restricted in that sense.
Okay. And it's not, but it's also based on what you're explaining here, that it's not something that can be done accidentally, because I know, again, having conversed with individuals, people are concerned that they may have committed this sin.
No, in the context, it is clearly blasphemy of the Holy Spirit by sincerely believing that Jesus was demon-possessed, and he did these miracles. They actually happened. But he did it by exercising the power of Satan. How many people have ever believed or taught that? You see, no.
Right.
No. That's reason most scholars say it doesn't happen today.